You know that feeling, right? That real urge to understand something complex, really grasp it, and then you're just looking at this huge pile of information. Feels impossible sometimes.
Yeah, information overload is definitely a thing.
Well, that's exactly why we're here. Welcome to the Deep Dive. We're your shortcut to getting properly informed. We take all that dense source material and boil it down to what really matters.
Think of us as guides cutting through the jungle of facts for you. We've done the heavy lifting, found the interesting bits.
And today we've got a really fascinating topic. We're diving deep into the whole concept of the Chintamani. Our main source is this document, the Chintamani Crystal Matrix, Quantum Intention and Wish-Fulfilling.pdf. And, wow, it covers a lot of ground.
It really does. I mean, it pulls from everywhere. Ancient myths, legends, bits of history, even some, modern science ideas. Quite the mix.
So our mission, our goal for this deep dive is to really unpack this Chintamani idea. We want to get a handle on where it came from, how different people have seen it, and maybe what it tells us about things like intention, power, even spiritual growth, maybe?
Exactly. It touches on all of those. So where should we begin? It sounds so mythical, this wish-fulfilling gem.
Yeah, finding solid ground seems tricky. Where does the source start?
Well, the most logical place, and where the document starts, is way back with the ancient traditions. Vedic, Buddhist.
Okay.
They seem foundational for understanding the Chintamani. And yeah, across the board, it's seen as this wish-fulfilling gem.
A wish-fulfilling gem. It just sounds like pure fantasy, doesn't it?
Yeah.
But the document makes an interesting point, distinguishing between people who worked with it harmoniously and those who just possessed it. What's that about?
Right. That's a key insight. The text suggests the Chintamani isn't just passive. Its power seems to respond to the person, their character, their intentions. So the ones working harmoniously, probably using wisdom, maybe for selfless reasons, but the bearers, maybe they just held it, driven by less noble goals, power, greed, and that could lead to trouble. It's like the gem reflects back what's inside the holder.
That's a cool way to put it. The power isn't just in the stone, but in the interaction.
Yeah.
Okay, so fast forward a bit. The document talks about the Roerich family, late 1920s, searching for the Chintamani, linking it to Shambhala. That sounds like a real adventure movie plot.
Oh, it totally reads like one. Nicholas Roerich, he's painted as this sort of real-life Indiana Jones figure.
Right.
And their journey through Asia, looking for the stone in Shambhala, it's epic. And interestingly, their work actually led to something called the Roerich Pact.
What was that?
It was about protecting cultural sites during war. It even influenced UNESCO later on. So their quest had these wider ripples, beyond just finding a mythical gem.
Wow. Okay, and the mystery starts early, right? This package shows up in Paris, 1923, containing the Chintamani, sent by someone called M.M. Very enigmatic.
Super enigmatic. And then the source gets into Nicholas Roerich's actual experiences searching for it. He talked about learning the language of the stones and nature in the Himalayas.
Language of stones.
Yeah. And he even painted this picture, Treasure of the World, which he said wasn't just a painting, but like a living image of the stone's energy. He depicted it with this intense blue aura powering their whole group. It wasn't just a thing to him, it was alive.
A living energy. So it's more than just a physical object. It's got this perceived presence. And the search for Shambhala was tied into this. He met a secret lama.
Yes, and that meeting sounds crucial. The lama was apparently cautious at first, testing Nicholas, but Roerich's determination, his genuine search for truth, won him over. It led to this intense vision.
A vision. What did he see?
He saw this radiant woman who gave him a pearl and told him to seek the Chintamani near Kanchenjunga. She warned him it would be dangerous, but also said he'd gain inner strength.
A pearl as a clue. That's powerful. And then the journey goes into a hidden crystal cave. Sounds like some kind of initiation.
It really does feel like that. And inside, meditating, Nicholas had this experience. A bright green Chintamani entering his heart. He felt transformed, like his heart turned into emerald. Oh. Then a golden door appeared, leading into this realm of blue light and gold walls. And there, a priest king showed him Shambhala. So finding the gem was tied to this inner transformation and seeing this legendary place.
And how is Shambhala described? The source mentions details.
Oh, incredibly vivid, like a lotus flower with 8 petals surrounded by snowy mountains, a river, the Jambu River, filled with gold, and the city, Kalepa, built from gemstones.
Sounds like paradise. What's the significance of all that imagery tied to the Chintamani?
Well, it points to the ideal state that Chintamani might represent or grant access to, right? Harmony, spiritual purity, abundance, the lotus, the gems, symbols of enlightenment, inherent value. Maybe the real gift isn't just stuff, but that state of being.
That makes sense. And after this, they leave the cave with the Chintamani. The text mentions Orion overhead and Roerich feeling connected to it, calling the stone a mind gem. That definitely shifts it away from just a physical thing.
Absolutely. It suggests that Chintamani connects you to something bigger, cosmic awareness, maybe higher intelligence.
Right.
A mind gem implies it works on consciousness itself.
Which leads nicely into this next idea, the jewel net of Indra, Indrajala, from Hindu and Buddhist thought. That image is amazing. The Chintamani isn't one gem, but every gem, all reflecting each other infinitely. What's the core idea there?
Indrajala is such a beautiful metaphor. It shows how everything is interconnected, but also kind of illusory. Each jewel, each person, each thing reflects all the others, an infinite web. So the Chintamani in this view embodies both worldly power, manifestation, and the path to seeing the interconnected, transient nature of it all. It's a paradox.
A powerful paradox. Okay, so the document then talks about Dharma, how aligning with your Dharma is crucial when dealing with this wish-fulfilling power. Can you break down Dharma for us?
Sure. Dharma is a big concept in Sanskrit. As the source explains, it means things like truth, the natural order of things, your own destiny or purpose, your duties.
Yeah.
Basically, living authentically and in harmony with the universe and your own true nature.
So it's not just make a wish. It's, is this wish aligned with who I truly am and the greater good? What happens if you're not aligned, if you stray from your Dharma while using this kind of power?
The text suggests it creates friction, disharmony, obstacles pop up, internally and externally, you lose that flow. But if you are aligned with your Dharma, things tend to flow better, opportunities arise, like positive life momentum.
Okay.
The example they give is a teacher, maybe passionate about teaching, but taking a mortgage banking job for more money. It might pay better, but if it's not their Dharma, it could lead to inner conflict, feeling unfulfilled,
Yeah, I get that. True fulfillment versus just material gain. Okay, so shifting gears again, the text looks at specific historical gems and their stories. Starting with the Saimantaka gem, what does that story tell us about the Chintamani idea?
It's a great story. Satyajit, a devotee of the sun god Surya, gets this amazing radiant gem. But the key point is Krishna's wisdom. He wanted the gem used for the whole community's benefit. Satyajit was possessive, wanted it all for himself, and that led to disaster, conflict, suspicion.
So the intention matters hugely.
Exactly. And the story suggests any negativity around these powerful gems often comes from the person, their flaws, greed, selfishness, not the gem itself being evil. It just reflects and magnifies what's already there.
Like a mirror, amplifying the inner state. Got it.
Precisely. Greed corrupts the potential good.
The Mahabharata also comes up, Indrajala used as a weapon by Arjuna. And the story of Aswatthama's third-eye jewel, that sounds intense.
Yeah, Aswatthama's story is potent. His jewel gave him powers, healing, protection, but he used it vengefully after the war, unethically. So the jewel was taken from him, and he was cursed. And who got the jewel?
Yudhishthira, the most virtuous of the Pandava brothers. It reinforces that theme. Power needs righteous stewardship. Right, worthiness and ethics keep coming up. Okay, let's turn to Buddhist traditions.
Yeah.
The Chintamani is linked with bodhisattvas.
Yeah.
What's a bodhisattva, and how are they connected to the gem?
Okay, so in Mahayana Buddhism, a bodhisattva is someone on the path to Buddhahood, but they choose to delay their final enlightenment to help all beings reach it first. It's driven by immense compassion, bodhicitta.
Right.
The text mentions key ones. The 5 Dhyani Buddhas, Avalokiteshvara, who embodies compassion, Kshitigarbha, Akashagarbha. Their images often show them holding the Chintamani. It symbolizes their power to fulfill beings' spiritual wishes and ease suffering. Avalokiteshvara especially often holds it near his heart, the wish-fulfilling power of compassion itself.
And the texts describe 4 specific powers of the Chintamani, beyond just granting wishes, right? Shining in the dark, providing water, helping a righteous king rule well, radiating colored light.
Exactly. Those powers point to fundamental needs, light, water, but also positive societal influence and this radiant energy quality. It's a power that serves and uplifts.
Fascinating. Let's look cross-culturally. East Asia has the kanji characters Niue Yushu. What extra layers does that add?
It shows how the core idea resonated elsewhere. Niu-i means like as one wishes. Ho means precious. Ju is a jewel or orb, but it also links to intention coming from the heart, even imperial power. And interestingly, Ju also connects to Taoist alchemy, seeking transformation. So it wasn't just copied, it blended with existing ideas.
Integrated, taking on local meaning. Okay, Back to Shambhala. Buddhist versus Vedic views. What's the difference?
Well, the Buddhist view ties it strongly to the Kala Chakra teachings, supposedly given by the Buddha himself. Shambhala is this hidden kingdom preserving those teachings, ruled by enlightened Kalki kings, a spiritual haven.
Oh, yeah.
The Vedic view sees Shambhala as the future birthplace of Kalki, Vishnu's final avatar, who'll arrive at the end of this dark age, the Kali Yuga, and bring in a new golden age. So, Buddhist view, preservation. Vedic view, future transformation. Both see it as hugely significant, though.
And the hero Jazer of Ling might fit in here as a reincarnation of the last Kalki king.
Potentially, yeah. The Kala Chakra tradition has prophecies about a final battle, led by Gezar and Shambhala's forces against darkness, so he's linked into that whole lineage and anticipation.
It's amazing how this idea of a powerful place or object keeps popping up everywhere. Okay, let's shift to art motifs and symbols of power. The Ottoman Chintamani pattern.
Yeah, that's concrete evidence of the idea traveling. This distinctive pattern, 3 dots, wavy lines, appears on Ottoman tiles from the 15th, 16th centuries. Directly linked to the Hindu-Buddhist Chintamani concept, probably spread via the Silk Road. A visual echo traveling miles.
And it shows up in Europe, too, the 3 dots.
It does, in medieval times. Often with the Trinity, Christian saints, symbolizing power, value. But maybe shifted meaning a bit in the West, more towards spiritual authority, divine blessing, perhaps, alongside the preciousness idea. Culture shapes the symbol.
Makes sense. Then China has the fire pearl with dragons. Another possible Chintamani connection?
The text strongly suggests it. The dragon and pearl in China are huge symbols. Wisdom, spiritual energy, transformation. Very similar vibes to the Chintamani's core attributes. Concentrated, powerful energy.
And when you talk gems in the East, you have to mention jade.
The
stone of heaven. How does jade fit in?
Jade is paramount in the East. It's not just about imperial power, earthly authority, but also deep spiritual attainment, virtue. Think of the Taoist jade emperor. Confucius praised it for embodying good qualities. It connects the earthly and heavenly.
So different cultures elevate different stones, reflecting their values. Okay, moving from symbol to substance. Tangible power gems. This section covers a lot: ink and crystals. The Holy Grail. What's the common thread?
It's trying to bridge legend and potentially real objects believed to hold special power. Like the Incas using precisely cut crystals for healing, spiritual work. That sounds like a practical application of an ancient Chintamani, used wisely.
And the Holy Grail. The connection via Wolfram von Eschenbach's Parsifal is wild. The idea wasn't a cup, but a stone, lapis exilis, stone from heaven. Maybe even extraterrestrial.
The interpretations of lapis exilis definitely open that door, a stone from the heavens, life-sustaining. And then you add the historical layer. The Cathars during the Albigensian Crusade, their sacred Mani stone.
Right, the one supposedly hidden at Mont Sigurd, then vanished.
Yeah.
That feels like a real-world quest story.
Absolutely. The accounts of the siege suggest they were desperately trying to protect, maybe even use this stone for some profound spiritual purpose, right up to the end.
And you have famous diamonds like the Koh-i-Noor, the Hope Diamond. Cursed or just complicated histories?
Well, curse is subjective, but their histories are undeniably turbulent. The text mentions the intense energy people feel around them, the Hope Diamond supposedly deflecting negativity, even glowing red sometimes, hints at some powerful, maybe not fully understood energy dynamic.
And the Stone of Destiny, Jacob's pillow. Not valuable materially, but symbolically huge.
Exactly. It's about the story, the covenant between Jacob and God. Divine birthright, national identity, all bound up in that stone. The belief gives it power. It's a contract in stone.
The source lists others too: Moldavite, Saffordite, Libyan desert glass from Tutankhamun's tomb, the black stone at the Kaaba. It's like a global tour of revered stones.
And each has its own unique energy, its own deep history and mythology. It really broadens the idea of tangible objects acting as focal points for power or spiritual connection.
And the Mogul emerald being inscribed, the carved Mani stones in the Himalayas, reminds us they weren't just pretty rocks. They were actively imbued with meaning.
Right. Carving prayers or symbols onto a stone suggests a conscious effort to program it, direct its energy for a specific purpose.
Lastly, this section connects it all to pop culture. Kryptonite, the One Ring, Kyber crystals, the Sorcerer's Stone. Why do these archetypes keep appearing in our stories?
It seems we're fascinated by the idea of immense power contained in an object, and these stories usually explore themes of worthiness, temptation, responsibility. How do you handle that power? Do you use it well? They're often cautionary tales or explorations of the consequences of power used for good or ill.
Deeply embedded archetypes.
Yeah.
Okay, now we shift into crystal spiritual technology. This feels like where ancient ideas meet potential science.
Yeah, and it starts with something pretty mind-blowing. Crystals aren't just out there, they're in us. Otoliths in our ears, myeloconia in the pineal gland. Tiny crystalline structures are part of our biology.
Whoa, so we have an innate connection.
It suggests that, yeah, a fundamental resonance. The text then breaks down crystal qualities, geology, chemistry, structure, energy charge, memory, attunement, how they interact with light, showing this deep link between us and them.
And the key principle is wave resonance, like crystals vibrate at certain frequencies.
Exactly. They can act as resonators for light, sound, maybe other energies too. They can interact with matter, energy, perhaps even consciousness through sympathetic vibration.
Marcel Vogel's research gets mentioned crystal shapes and healing, and different shapes having different functions.
Right. Vogel explored how specific shapes might affect energy, like cubes for stability, spheres for radiating energy evenly, wands for focusing it. The shape interacts with the intention and the person's energy field. It's not one size fits all.
Which leads to programming crystals, putting your intention into the crystal, creating a resonance.
Precisely. It's not passive. The act of programming sets up this mutual feedback loop. Your intention influences the crystal's field, and maybe the crystal's organized structure helps amplify or stabilize that intention.
And crystal skulls, the idea they store information, compared to modern data storage.
It's a controversial idea, scientifically, whether ancient skulls actually store data like a computer. But the comparison is interesting. It highlights the potential of crystalline structures to hold complex information, even if it's on a subtle energy level rather than digital bits. Modern tech like 3D, even 5D optical storage, shows crystals can hold immense data.
Then there's Dr. William Tiller's work, D-space and R-space, crystals as mediators.
Tiller proposed this model. D-space is our physical reality. R-space is a higher dimensional realm of information or potential. He theorized crystals could act as intention-imprinted electrical devices, IIEDs, bridging these dimensions. Basically, a potential scientific framework for how intention, mediated by a crystal, could influence physical reality.
Wow, okay. And Schrödinger calling DNA an aperiodic crystal. That expands the definition of crystal itself.
Hugely. Schrödinger saw that DNA structure, unlike regular crystals with repeating patterns, is non-repeating, aperiodic. That's what allows it to store the complex strip code of life. It's a crystal designed for information, not just simple repetition.
And the implication is, our own DNA might resonate with something like the Chintamani, on a biological level.
That's the suggestion, that this aperiodic crystalline nature of DNA might be key to how we interact with subtle energy fields, like the one potentially associated with the Chintamani. It hints at a very deep, fundamental connection.
The text also mentions other crystal types. Periodic, quasi-crystals, amorphous ones like moldavite, even theoretical time crystals. It's a diverse world.
It really underscores that the Chintamani idea might not be limited to just one type of structure or manifestation. The possibilities within the crystalline realm seem vast, maybe even spanning dimensions or time itself.
This section really tries to ground some of the mystical ideas in potential scientific principles. Okay, let's move to astrological and energetic alignments.
Right. This connects crystals to practices like using birthstones based on your astrological sign. And the idea of working with stones that represent astrological challenges, oppositions, swears to your sun sign to bring balance, using crystal energies to harmonize your personal blueprint.
And the difference between the internal structure, crystal system, and the outer shape, crystal habit, is important here, like a diamond being cubic inside, but often octahedral outside.
Yes, because that octahedron can be seen geometrically as 3 nested circles, which visually echoes some Chintamani symbols. It shows layers of connection, internal structure, external form, symbolic meaning.
The Navaratna, the 9-gem arrangement in crowns and breastplates, is mentioned for amplified power.
Yeah, the idea is that combining these specific 9 gems, each linked to a planet in Vedic astrology, creates a synergistic effect. Their individual energies work together for a more potent, balanced field for the wearer.
And the example of blue sapphire's hexagonal structure, matching Saturn's North Pole hexagon. That's a striking parallel between crystal structure and planetary phenomena.
It really hints at a deep resonance, doesn't it? A connection between the macrocosm, planets, and microcosm, crystals on Earth. Maybe crystals act as receivers or conduits for these cosmic energies.
The breastplate of judgment, the Hoshin, worn by the high priest of Israel. Another example using gems for divination.
A very sophisticated example. 12 gems for the 12 tribes. The belief was the high priest could discern God's will through them, maybe using the Urim and Thummim too. It shows this long-standing belief in gems mediating spiritual insight.
And finally, stone circles like Stonehenge, Callanish. Intentional placement of stones, maybe quartz, to work with earth energies.
Definitely. These ancient sites suggest a deep understanding of subtle energy, sly lines, and using stones, especially quartz with its piezoelectric properties, to create powerful energetic fields for rituals, healing, maybe other purposes we don't fully understand.
It all seems to circle back to alignment with earth, cosmos, self. Okay, now for a really intriguing section. Chintamani alchemy. How does alchemy connect here?
Alchemy, both East and West, isn't just about turning lead into gold, according to the source. It's fundamentally about inner transformation, refining the self, elevating the spirit. And that goal mirrors the idea of the Chintamani as a mind gem, a catalyst for inner enlightenment.
So the Philosopher's Stone isn't just about literal gold, but metaphorical gold, transforming our inner base matter.
Exactly. It's reframed as a thinker's stone, or mind gem, very much like the Chintamani, transforming ignorance, ego, negativity into wisdom and purity.
The axiom, as above, so below from the Emerald Tablet, is key here.
Foundational. It emphasizes that the inner world, mind, spirit, and the outer world, matter, mirror each other. Change one, you affect the other. Alchemy works on both levels.
The 4 alchemical stages are mentioned. Nigredo, albedo, citrinitas, rubedo, black, white, yellow, red. What do they represent?
They're symbolic stages of the transformative process. Nigredo black is like breaking down the old self, confronting the shadow. Albedo white is purification. Citrinitas yellow is elimination, the perfected state, a roadmap for inner work.
And the Azov mandala, a visual guide.
It's presented as this complex hermetic diagram packed with symbols, elements, principles like soul, spirit, body, anima, spiritus, corpus, operational steps. Meditating on it is like an initiation into the alchemical process itself, showing the interplay of inner work and outer manifestation.
How does this compare to Eastern practices, like Taoist inner alchemy or yoga?
Similar goals, different methods. Taoist Naden focuses on transforming Jing essence, Qi energy, and Shen spirit within the body. Patanjali's yoga outlines 8 limbs, ethics, postures, breath control, meditation stages leading to samadhi, enlightenment. Both are systematic paths of inner cultivation.
And Vajrayana Buddhist alchemy, with the energy channels and chakras.
Vajrayana uses sophisticated techniques involving the subtle body, the central channel, Sushumna, side channels, Ida, Pingala, chakras. Visualizing yourself as a Yidam, a Buddha, or Bodhisattva is key. Concentrating life force, prana, to achieve rapid transformation.
So this leads to 3 types of Chintamani's being proposed.
Yeah, useful framework. 1, the mythical gem of legend. 2, tangible power stones from history. 3, hybrid stones bridging spirit and matter through these intentional alchemical-like processes. It covers the whole spectrum.
Even math and geometry get involved. John Dee's Mona's Hieroglyphica, Newton's alchemical drawings.
It shows these brilliant minds were trying to map the underlying principles of transformation using the languages they knew best, geometry, mathematics, seeking universal patterns in both spirit and matter.
Personal experiences with crystal orbs are shared too. Altered states, feeling the firestone energy.
Right, those first-hand accounts bring it down to earth a bit. They highlight the subjective, experiential side, how interacting with these objects can genuinely feel transformative or connect you to something deeper.
And the contrast between the globus cruciger, symbol of worldly power, and Christ holding a clear orb in Salvator Mundi.
That's a powerful visual. It suggests a choice. Use this Chintamani-like power for earthly control, or for universal benefit, spiritual enlightenment. 2 different paths for wielding power.
The energy of crystal skulls comes up again, and practices like creating treasure vases in Tibetan Buddhism, or making Rinchen Rilbu precious pills, and Chintamani incense.
These are all presented as tangible examples of applied alchemy. Creating objects imbued with positive energy and intention, using specific ingredients and rituals to benefit people or purify environments. Practical Chintamani creation, in a way.
This whole alchemy section is incredibly rich. Okay, let's get practical. Working with crystals and intention. How can people actually do this?
The key takeaway here is that the real power isn't just the crystal's price tag or rarity. It's your authentic connection with it, your intention, building a relationship.
Using the chakra colors is suggested as a simple way to start.
Yeah, it's accessible. Noticing which colors you're drawn to might indicate which energy center needs support. You can then consciously choose crystals of those colors to help bring balance. a practical starting point.
And there are exercises for selecting crystals intuitively.
Yes. 4 simple exercises are offered, encouraging you to trust your own feelings and resonance when choosing a stone and how to align its energy with yours. It's about making it personal, integrating it with what you might already do.
A specific practice for merging intention with a crystal using breath and visualization is detailed too.
Right, a step-by-step guide to really focus your mind, use your breath, and visualize embedding your specific intention into the crystal's structure, making it an active process.
Crystal grids are mentioned for amplifying energy.
Exactly. Arranging multiple crystals in specific geometric patterns, like a grid, is believed to create a stronger, more focused energy field for a particular intention, whether personal or for a group. Examples are given for different grid shapes and purposes.
And making Chintamani water, programming quartz under moonlight or sunlight.
A simple but potent practice. Infusing water with the energy and intention you've programmed into a clear quartz crystal by leaving it in natural light, creating your own personalized energetic elixir.
Mantras are discussed too, the power of sound.
Yes, mantras as ordered sound vibrations, used for clearing blockages, opening energy, connecting. Proper pronunciation matters, and lineage practices carry extra energetic weight accumulated over time, harnessing sacred sound.
And wearing gemstone rings, like Solomon's ring. Different fingers connecting to different planets in Vedic astrology. Jyotish.
Right. It explores the idea that where you wear a specific gem matters. Each finger is linked to a planetary energy, so choosing the finger consciously can help empower specific qualities associated with that planet in your life. Intentional adornment.
Finally, a Chintamani yoga practice is presented, integrating breath, visualization, and connection to a personal deity.
Yes, it weaves it all together. Using breath, visualizing your own inner Chintamani mind gem, maybe choosing a color that resonates, and connecting with your Ishtadevata, your chosen guiding deity or archetype. A holistic practice for integrating these ideas.
So lots of practical ways to engage. Now, connecting back to Shambhala and Kalachakra practices, how do they fit deeper?
The text clarifies there are really 2 sides of the same coin in Tibetan Vajrayana. Kalachakra is the yoga system, Shambhala is the realm, and the inner state achieved through that practice. Deeply linked.
And there are ways to increase affinity with them, building on the Chintamani yoga.
Yes. Practices to further align your energy and consciousness with Kalachakra principles and the qualities of Shambhala, deepening that resonance.
The idea that the outer journey mirrors an inner one is emphasized, with your Ishtadevata as an inner guide.
Exactly. The physical quest for Shambhala is symbolic of the inner journey towards enlightenment. Your personal deity acts as your guide on that inner path.
A meditation is offered to connect with the Shambhala realm directly, visualizing the city, the palace, the deity's Chintamani.
Yes, a guided practice to forge that conscious link, using visualization to connect with the symbolic imagery and energy of Shambhala.
And paying attention to synchronicities, dreams, encounters as guidance.
Right, encouraging a receptive awareness. In these traditions, meaningful coincidences or dreams are often seen as signs or subtle guidance on your spiritual path.
Okay, bridging the abstract with practice. Now, light energy and rainbow body, these sound like advanced states.
They are. The rainbow body is described as a very advanced result of intense Kalachakra practice. The physical body literally transforms into pure light energy. It means complete exhaustion of karma, returning to the mind's natural primordial state.
Wow. And there's a meditation for resting the mind in its natural state to help achieve that.
Yes, a profound practice aiming for deep samadhi, meditative absorption. By resting in that fundamental stillness beneath thought, you can start to liberate yourself from attachment, habitual patterns, and karma.
The steps are guided. Posture, breath, focus point.
Yes, clear instructions are given. Stable posture, natural breath, attention often guided to the navel area, and different options for visual focus: eyes closed, soft downward gaze, or even open sky gazing, setting up the conditions for deep awareness.
The Yidam Chintamani practice, visualizing the deity, their Chintamani, and radiating light.
It brings it all together. Visualize your Ishtadevata, connect with their radiant Chintamani, wish-fulfilling Gemini, and then actively radiate that light, compassion, wisdom out to benefit all beings. A powerful integration of visualization, devotion, and altruism.
Moving towards very subtle levels of practice. Briefly now, hidden realms and sacred geography. Bayuls.
Bayuls are these legendary hidden valleys in the Himalayas, seen as both physical sanctuaries and potent spiritual realms, supposedly only accessible to those with enough merit, or revealed through signs, like pockets of paradise with a deep energy.
Tachyonic monastery in Sikkim is mentioned, laid out like the Kalachakra mandala.
Yes, a key example. The monastery and its surroundings are said to mirror the Kalachakra structure, with 4 sacred caves nearby, each offering a different path to enlightenment, a sacred landscape embodying the teachings.
And energetic barriers protecting these places, like a stone door, needing inner transformation to pass.
Right. It symbolizes that you can't just physically hike into these realms. Access requires an inner shift, purification. The barriers are energetic or spiritual, not just physical.
Finally, there's that orb analysis table. Elemental composition of different colored orbs.
Yeah, it provides some actual scientific data on the physical makeup of various analyzed orbs based on their color. It offers a grounded material perspective on these often mysterious phenomena. Interesting contrast.
Okay, so wrapping up this huge deep dive.
Yeah.
It's clear the Chintamani is way more than just a wish-fulfilling gem. It's this incredibly vast, interconnected concept.
Absolutely. We've seen it in myth, history, art, science, spirituality, across so many cultures and times, from ancient legends to potential crystal tech.
And the core takeaway for me is that it's not just an object. It's deeply tied to our intention, our consciousness, and that fundamental interconnectedness of everything.
Exactly. It represents this potential for incredible power, yes, but also for profound spiritual growth. It all depends on how you approach it, understand it, and ultimately use it.
So here's a final thought to leave people with, maybe a bit provocative. Instead of just asking what the Chintamani can do, what should it do? What ought it accomplish in the hands of someone really striving for spiritual growth for the benefit of all?
That's the crucial question, isn't it? The responsibility that comes with power, whether it's a mythical gem or just our own inner potential.
We really hope you'll chew on all this information. Maybe even check out the source document yourself. Think about your own Chintamani quest, your own search for knowledge and understanding.
There's always more to explore, definitely. Different perspectives enrich the journey.
And that's what the deep dive is all about, giving you that shortcut to being really informed, sparking maybe a few of those aha moments for you. Thanks for joining us on this one.